Welcome back to the Pursuit of MiSELF for 2026. I've been waiting so long to just say that out loud. I really have missed this. And I guess over the past month, where I've just noticed that I have been consuming is like short, little content and, viral hooks and, people, all the things that we just jump on Instagram or TikTok, whatever it is, and say, I really miss indulging myself in the opportunity to express and to share and to educate and to connect in something that's a bit more deeper. So first, I want to thank you all for being here because it is still getting downloads over the month that I've had off, and I just know how much via all your messages, this is still really impacting your life. So thank you for being here. I'm so committed to making 2026 going even deeper with you guys, even more honest, more authentic, more aligned, more embodied in everything that I do. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I guess, okay, let's recap the month. This month I went to Japan with my family and had the most incredible, I think it was 10 days. Something that I've been manifesting for a really, really long time. It had been on my list. We did have a hiccup up there. One of my sons broke his collarbone, but only a minor sort of break. His collar and cuff for 4 to 6 weeks. So all in all, touch wood, given how absolutely mad dogs they were on the snow, having just seen it for the first time, I feel like that was a bit of a good quote unquote result. It was my birthday. I turned 43. I'm very, very proud. There is so much, I guess, that I want to share with you. And I've just sat here for the last couple of hours just doing a bit of a list and a bit of a program and a bit of a lesson. I think what I do want to start with, which will bring me into the episode today, is lessons that I've learned over the past 1 to 2 years. I'm not going to do decades. I'm not going to do lifetimes. I'm not going to do if I had have known then, because one thing that I know that has changed significantly for me in this life is that things can change really, really quickly. Like things can change in your life so quickly. Things can change in your business so quickly, in your love life so quickly, in your wealth so quickly. But it does take an honest reflection and it does take work. I am enrolling people at the moment, which, both of my programs are still going and they have been going over January. I didn't take a break from those. And I've been enrolling some really incredible women into the MiSELF Academy. And one thing that I can guarantee you that they all say is after just 60 minutes of deep diving through their business, through their identity, through what they've been settling for, through what they actually want and getting really clear, things have changed for them so dramatically and so quickly. Like getting booked, having a random client just jump in and book when you change your energetics, doubling an income in a month. Like we work so deeply with the human, with the magnetics, with the energetics of everything that we do. I'm not going to sit here and yell strategy and this is my 10-step formula because I think it's all BS. I think that's all marketing. And I know, you know what? I know that you guys are smarter than that. In this world of AI, you can go in and go, hey, what are my 10 next steps in business to make me $20,000 this month? And AI will go, blah, 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 blah. But what we cannot AI, what we cannot ChatGPT is your own personal roadmap, your own personal blueprint as to what your roadblocks are, what your trauma is, where your limiting beliefs are, why you keep self-sabotaging. You can't go, hey, ChatGPT, why do I keep self-sabotaging? This is the work, and this is why this industry and the industry that I'm in, mentoring and coaching, is going to become so powerful. It's going to start drowning out the crap because I know the industry has been flooded. It's going to start drowning out the crap and really highlighting the people that are embodied, that know what they're doing, that can work with you to create your personal roadmap, because I can't do it for you. I can't do it for you. That strategy that you're buying online can't do it for you. It all comes down to you and how much you're willing to step into your own energetics, your own identity, your own self-worth to get the results that you personally desire. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do. And this year is going to be huge. This year is going to be it. So without further ado, let's hop into this episode. There's going to be some really juicy things, some tips. I know you're going to walk away from this going, I get it. I can do that now. And you can make big changes in your life. So please, if you do implement anything that I say, message me on Instagram, put it up on your story. I will reshare it. Message me here. There are so many ways in this world to to get in contact, but I'd really love to hear from you. I want to see if this landed. I want to see if this changes your life. 26, let's fucking go. Welcome to the Pursuit of MiSELF, the podcast. Here we take ownership of our healing. We rewrite the rules, we turn knowledge into wisdom, and we lead our lives with intention. I'm your host, Rain, and it's my mission to empower you to get back into the driver's seat of your life. So I want to start this episode by saying something that might surprise you. So the last couple of years didn't change my life because I learned more, because I read more, because I did more courses. The last couple of years have changed so dramatically for me because I stopped negotiating with other people's truth. I stopped negotiating with a certain identity, and I got really, really clear about what I wanted. And this just didn't go for my business. I got super clear about what I wanted in love, in my romantic relationship, what I want in money, in wealth, what I wanted in my business, what I wanted in how I lived the holidays and the experiences that I want. I got so razor sharp clear. And instead of things getting easier, and this is the crux of it, things just didn't magically get easier. What happened was life started asking more of me. And this is the part that no one really talks about when we talk about growth or manifestation, because clarity doesn't just bring opportunities into your life. What it actually brings is responsibility, self-responsibility. So if you've been doing the work, showing up, investing in yourself, but you still feel like something hasn't fully landed yet, this episode is for you. So I just turned 43. Hey, happy birthday to me. And when I look back over the last 2 years in particular, I can see how quickly things can change when you stop outsourcing your power and start leading yourself from the inside out. And this doesn't mean I hustled more. Gosh, I had some years of hustle. Definitely had some mad years of the masculine hustle. This doesn't change because I had more strategy, and definitely not through pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. What actually shifted in my life, in my relationships, and in my business wasn't this like single breakthrough moment. It was a series of embodied decisions, me showing up for myself over and over and over again, not stopping. If things didn't work, I didn't fall to pieces. But the decisions that I had to make looked like having conversations that I'd been avoiding. It looked like saying no without over-explaining when you just know something's not right for you. Decisions like investing in myself to go deeper, not to be fixed or not to make more money, but to go deeper. Decisions that allowed myself to want more money without the guilt. And leading my nervous system instead of negotiating with it, instead of allowing that fear to lead, I decided I had to lead my nervous system. So in this episode, I want to share 10 truths I've learned over the last couple of years. And these are not lessons from a textbook. These are not things I teach because they sound good, but these truths are truths that I've lived, and they fundamentally changed how I show up in love, in business, and in my life. And if you've been feeling like you're close but not quite there yet, I want you to know this. Change doesn't have to take forever, but sometimes it does require a different level of honesty with yourself. And before we dive in, I want to say this really honestly. The work I'm going to talk about today, this shift from survival into self-leadership, is exactly the foundation of the MiSELF Academy. Not as a program to fix you, not as a place to give you more to do, but as a space where women slow down enough, become so honest, so embodied, and more anchored in who they actually are, so that their business and their life, the one that they're desiring, they're building, can actually feel like theirs. So if you're listening today and something in you recognizes this work, you don't need to decide anything right now, just notice the response in your body. So I'll leave the details in the show notes for when you feel ready to explore this. But this beautiful, uplifting, growth, wealth, business, connected, abundant community is here and available for you the moment that you do decide. So the 10 truths, let's get cranking. 1, the clearer I got about what I wanted, the more that life asked of me. So yes, clarity is so important, right? Clarity needs to be there to be able to know what you're creating. But when I stopped being vague about what I actually desired, and I know a lot of us say, God, it's hard to desire more money and desire more, impact and desire, to build these businesses and to feel free and align and be in alignment. The universe responded. And I decided that these are all the things. So it's truth. The clearer I got about what I wanted, life didn't actually get easier. Life asked more of me. When I stopped being vague about what I actually wanted, money, impact, freedom, travel, the universe responded, but it didn't respond with this ease and like, there you go. Now that you're clear, you may have this. It responded with responsibility. So what clarity actually does is it removes hiding places and it demands leadership. And when you are clear about what you want, it's going to be uncomfortable because, as we know, if we don't have what we want, there are things in our life that are not in alignment. There are things that are not quote unquote working. There are things that are not authentic. There are things that we're holding on to that we know we can't or we don't actually want them there. There are little lies that we tell ourselves every day about why we need to stay the same, but clarity doesn't actually change that. What it does is it shows you where those lies are. Clarity demands leadership. It demands that you remove the stuff that's no longer working. It demands that you show up for yourself in a way that you haven't shown up before because it feels uncomfortable. So my huge truth is that when I decided that I wanted to support, 100 business women this year to grow their businesses and become aligned and authentic and soul-led in everything that they do, you know what that demanded of me? Demanded that I go even deeper with myself to embody that. So that's what I mean about clarity. When you get clear on what you want, the universe will go, right, we need to remove anything that isn't in alignment with that. We need to embody it deeper in you so that you can teach that. That's the very thing that has got me to where I am today. Lesson 2, truth number 2, manifestation is not magic. It's confrontation. So every expansion revealed the exact inner work that is required to hold it. So there was a point where manifestation was easy, like little things. Manifest this. Oh my God, I manifested that business seed. Oh my God, I manifested that little bit of more money. I manifested that night out. I manifested whatever it is that you want. Manifestation is there. It's real. Law of attraction, law of energetics, it's there. But when you first start doing it, you get to do the little things. When you start manifesting and wanting more and bigger things, it isn't just this magic like there you go. It is, again, confrontation, because every single expansion reveals where you're not free. So if you want more visibility, you have to have like more self-trust. If you want more money, you've got to be more in integrity. If you want more impact, you want to service more people, you have to be less performative and you have to be more authentic in everything that you do. So manifestation does come, but it comes with this confrontational price tag that we all must pay. Now, the paying of the price tag of ourselves is actually just about dropping again off what is not serving us. But that's what I've learned about manifestation. It isn't mindset, affirmations, vision boards. It does work in the beginning like that. But when you want bigger things, it requires more depth, more embodiment. You don't actually manifest what you want. You manifest what you can hold and what you can embody. So the third truth that I've learned is that investing in my personal growth doubled my business. Now, this is my lived truth, because there was one stage where I was investing, yes, to make more money and investing to learn. But when I invested in my personal growth, when I invested in a coach to help me see my blind spots, help me see my self-sabotage, where my confidence, where I wasn't being visible, where I was performing, when I invested in that type of coaching, my personal growth doubled my business. Because when we invest to have things done for us, we can get to a certain level, we can get to a certain income, but you cannot go any deeper than that. So when you do invest to go deeper with yourself, you learn about how your inner workings are, what you actually really, truly desire, And what is stopping you, your traumas, your triggers that are stopping you, your self-sabotage, actually creating that. So when you invest in your personal growth, you get to be more honest, more regulated and embodied in yourself, because the cleaner that you are with yourself and the clearer that you are with what you want, the cleaner your messaging becomes, the cleaner your offers and your leadership becomes. People are magnetized to you. They trust you. They don't trust that you're cookie cuttering from someone else's work, that you're getting things just off ChatGPT and saying, hey, this is my work, that you're, copying from other coaches. When you become honest, regulated, embodied, you become the clean version of yourself that gets to show up in your authenticity and in your alignment. And that's what magnetism is. So my business didn't grow because I added more, because I learned more. My business actually grew in the last year or two because I removed what wasn't true for me and showed up as even more authentic. And I know if you've been here for a long time, you'll know that most of my teachings and most of my embodiment is in authenticity. And I also know that that work never stops. Every time we go deeper and go into a new layer, there's a new layer of authenticity that's required to manifest that bigger thing that you're wanting, which actually leads me to my fourth truth, is the work didn't stop when things got better. It actually became more precise. As we grow over the last couple of years, I noticed that people want to get to that journey. They want to finish that journey. They want to heal. But the truth that I know to be so true is that it doesn't actually end. It doesn't end. It is refined. So you move from sort of crisis healing to conscious leadership. We move from survival work to identity refinement. Because as we grow, as we want more, obviously new layers are surfacing. There is always growth to be had. If anyone is not changing and not growing, they're not doing the work. They're hiding and avoiding. They've become comfortable in a place that feels good, but it is not a growth place. If we want to move and make more money, we have to grow and evolve. If we want to take our kids on more holidays, we have to grow and evolve. If we want a bigger business, we have to grow and evolve. If we want to go deeper in our relationship, we have to grow and evolve. And it showed me that the more I want, the more I have to grow. And that is a commitment that I've made, because the work as we grow, it wasn't heavier, but it does feel easier, and it was cleaner and it was quieter and it was more intentional because I was so clear on what I want. So when you are in the work, it doesn't actually stop when things get better. You just become more precise about what you want, and you refine your steps and your actions as it comes to fruition. So the fifth truth that I learned was verbalizing or admitting to myself that I wanted more money, because I guess the money scenario or the money word or the money energetics or the wealth energetics or the rich bitch or the, whatever it is that you want to call it, I feel like it is so old. I actually had a client and our first session that we started, and she's in my MiSELF Academy. And I said, who would you be if you were earning $20,000 months? And she's like, I don't know. I think I have everything that I want. I think I have everything that I need. And she couldn't even imagine. We're growing her business, scaling it. How many clients do we need? Writing up her offer. But she still couldn't imagine herself with that $20,000 month that she wanted. But when she somatically said, who would I be and how do I feel? Could not feel it. So this is the absolute example of that. And I especially see this in women all the time. We don't give ourselves permission to want more. It makes us feel ungrateful. It makes us feel like, we're not happy with what we have. But the beautiful duality of life is that we can be happy and grateful with what we have and still be frustrated and want more. That is absolutely okay. And I had to give myself also permission to do that. So wanting more money was keeping me out of the money game. Or I should say, avoiding admitting to myself that I wanted more money was keeping me out of the game, because money's just an energetic, and that is capped, and money will be capped at your capacity to hold it. Your choices to create more money, if you can't imagine yourself with more money, will be capped at the identity that you're holding. And if we want to experience more, money is the way to do that. Look, I'm not saying that we need to edify and worship money at all as an energy, but we need to see it as an energy that we're allowed to want to experience more of. So if you add that experience that you want and put an energetic stamp on it to how much energetic money is going to be needed to experience that, you can start looking at it as a different way rather than this is my worth because this is what I've earned. This is the value of my success because this is what I have in my bank account. I am not a failure because my business is just ticking over. We can start looking at money in a way that we are allowed to desire more of it. So I did at the last couple of years, and anyone who's worked with me will know I've worked a lot with money energetics and still do. What I've learned is that I've allowed wealth to be part of my integrity and not separate from it. I've allowed it to be part of my energetic plan and not be less spiritual because I desire it more. I've given myself permission, and that has absolutely changed the game for me. So the sixth truth that I've learned is that my nervous system needed leadership, not motivation. You can't motivate your nervous system to go. Your nervous system will only meet you at the capacity that it knows. So the things that I did this year were 5 a.m. exercise twice a week. I started lifting weights. That was me bossing my nervous system into saying, I want health. I am committed. I am motivated. I can lead you. I don't have to be led by your fear, by your exhaustion, by your telling me that I can or can't do something. I took control of my nervous system. So it also regulated me because I knew on those days that I'd been exercising, I'd done something for myself. But my nervous system also loves consistency. It taught my body safety. Now, I've been meditating and doing journaling and all this stuff for years. So I'm not going to go on and tell you all about that. But this is something specifically that I did this year that was different because safety is also created in that clarity, and clarity created the momentum for me to continue getting up and seeing the results. So I stopped negotiating with my body and my mind and started leading it. I led it into good health. I led it into early mornings. I led it into early nights. I led my nervous system into making good decisions for me over and consistently over and over again to get results rather than allowing my survival mode to make the decisions for me. So that is one huge truth that I've learned this year is you get to lead your nervous system. Your nervous system isn't all about meditation and journaling. We must lead it with taking action in the direction that we want to go. Truth number 7, saying no changed my life faster than saying yes ever did. Now, when I talk about saying no, I know that immediately it's like I say no to the event and I say no to, let's say, going out, and I say yes to rest and say no to a dinner that I don't feel like going to because I'm overworked. And yes, that is the no. But the no that I'm talking about is the absolute discernment that replaces over availability. So when you are saying no, the saying no is actually a move towards our desire. So if you look at it like this, we have this desire to build this business, to, let's say, have this holiday, to buy this house, to find the love of your life. Saying no just isn't about protecting your energy and doing what feels right. Saying no puts you in the direction of where you are wanting to go. So the saying no part is so important because it's saying to the universe, saying to your energy field, saying to everything, I am no longer aligned to that. I am wanting something more. I am saying yes to what is aligned. So the no is so powerful. So this year it's like saying no to misaligned clients, saying no to misaligned ways of doing business that were given to me strategically that didn't feel good, saying no to, saying no to events and things that didn't align with me anymore. For people that have followed me for a while, you know that I used to do sort of blogging and influencing, and I would go to a lot of events and social events. I've literally said no to pretty much everything that has come my way unless it is something that I desire, unless it is something that actually lights me up. Because by saying no to that old identity, it is opening and saying yes to the identity that I'm creating, to the business that I'm creating, to the wealth that I'm creating. Just going back to my exercise, saying no to sleeping in on those mornings where I've committed to exercising means that I'm saying yes to the health and to the body and to the energy that I'm wanting to create. So this isn't just simply like, let's say no to going out on the weekend or saying no to that extra drink. It's like, is this no putting me in the direction of what I am wanting to create? If it is a loving relationship, are you saying no to the 10 p.m. booty call? Are you saying no to the energy leaking in your DMs on Instagram? So no is so powerful, and it changed my life faster than any yes ever did. So my 8th truth that I'm sharing with you in my last couple of years after 43 years on this earth, and this is something I work through with my clients a lot, is outsourcing confronted my identity more than my workload. So when we outsource things and jobs in our business or tasks in our business that are no longer fueling us, tasks that we can do easily, but they're taking up time when we're wanting to build. This comes back to the no as well. When we are outsourcing and giving ourselves time in the direction that we're wanting and needing to grow. So this year in 2025, I hired a BDM. And definitely when I had to do that, well, didn't have to, when I chose to do that, I took a deep breath. I'm like, am I ready for this? Am I ready to be handing over this part of my business? Am I ready to be paying someone in my business? Am I really, really ready for this? And of course, the mind starts, of course, and you should do it all yourself, right? That will eat into your profit margin, right? You can build that business. You can just buy that street. You can work more hours. What's going to happen when you are paying, and then that money set's going to put pressure on you? All the shoulds of why I couldn't and shouldn't came in. But hiring a BDM for me was about the growth in the direction that I was trying to create. So if we are trying to control and do everything at home in our businesses, then we are leaving zero room for growth, zero room for creativity. And by letting go certain points and parts of my life, created space so that I could double my income in 2025. But what this confronts is, it confronted the control that I needed, or I feel like I needed. It confronted my worth. Am I worthy of having a business development manager? And it confronted the fact that I needed to be central in everything that I do. What happens when we start delegating and when we start stepping back, not back as in doing nothing, but back as in looking at your business other than you in it, you choose leadership over the overfunctioning and the control and the overwhelm. And what ends up happening is your business matures with you. And that is what's happened. So outsourcing is a way where we decide that we get to lead ourselves rather than just be it ourselves. And you will know when you're sitting here listening to this, you'll be like, oh, there's that little task that takes up so much time that I could be outsourcing. So if this is a challenge for truth number 8, sit down and write down all the tasks that you do. You might see that there's little things that you can start delegating and outsourcing to leave space for more abundance, more manifestation, more wealth to come in. Have to trust and make that space. It has to be a priority. So truth number 9, and this is a big one because this is something that I teach, is that my standards shaped my reality more than my mindset ever did. And I've thought about this a lot. I don't consider myself a business growth expert. I don't consider myself a mindset expert. I think they're all buzzwords. My standards are one of identity. My standards are, who do I need to be to have the thing that I want? And my life truly changed when I stopped tolerating the things that were no longer in alignment. Yes, all these truths can sort of be molded into one another, like saying no and the manifestation. But when you really think about life as your standards, what standard are you living? What is your truth? Then you will see what is actually unfolding in front of you. And your standards are your actions. My life changed so quickly when I stopped tolerating things like misaligned clients, when I stopped tolerating procrastinating on my phone, when I stopped tolerating inconsistency of the exercise, when I stopped tolerating my second guessing of myself, because I'm like, what are my standards? My standards are, who is the Rain that you're calling in? What is she doing? How is it that Rain that's making $500,000 a year? How is she showing up? Is she procrastinating and scrolling on her phone? Oh God, definitely not. If she's making $500,000 a year, is she entertaining that client that isn't actually paying? No, definitely not. If Rain is making $500,000 a year, is she second guessing that investment that she's making in herself to grow her business and her identity? Is that Rain that's making $500,000 a year, is she letting fear say no? Or is she letting her self-leadership say no to things that are unaligned? My standards became embodied decisions, not just motivational thoughts, not just positive affirmations on a paper, but they became embodied decisions. So I would wake up every single day and be like, what would that version of me do? What are her standards? In her relationship, when she is solid and loved and connected and in flow, she is having the hard conversations with her partner, because she knows that only brings more connection. That Rain that is not scared of that relationship, failing, it's quote unquote failing. What is she doing? Oh, she is making the call. She's sending those beautiful texts. She's having those hard conversations. So that is the truth. Number 9, what standard are you setting for yourself? Because my standards, your standards, they shape your reality. Drop the mindset. Start embodying, looking at yourself. How are you showing up every day? What are you accepting as your standards? So truth number 10, I'm going to use the word safety here, and this could trigger a lot of you, because safety doesn't actually come from controlling my life. Safety comes from trusting myself. Safety comes from trusting that you are so embodied that the money will come when you take the action. Safety comes from trusting that that decision that you're making right now that feels aligned, that you're a yes to, that the abundance and the clients will follow. Safety does not come from you nitpicking and controlling every aspect of your life. So I stopped waiting to feel safe before I moved. I stopped waiting for that big money to come in before I said yes to more personal development. I stopped waiting for the end of the year before I could reset and start again. I stopped waiting and I started to press go. I pressed action when it felt good, when it felt right, when I was ready, which was always in that present moment. I worked from my intuition, because that is where safety is trusting ourselves to take action when the intuition says, let's go. Because if we aren't able to do that, then we're still running our life from fear. And when we're running our life from fear, it's the stories, it's the second guessing, it's the self-abandonment, it's the self-sabotage. That's the nervous system keeping you small. Safety came from doing my inner work to create the strong foundation that I know that the direction that I'm going is the direction that I'm feeling pulled in. That's the right direction for me, for abundance, for wealth, for growth, for creativity, for making an impact in my life. So I trusted, when you have this trust, this deep connection with yourself, this strong foundation, that my capacity will respond to it instead of predicting it. And my ability to stay with the discomfort instead of avoiding it is key to this. We all have fear. We all have discomfort. But my ability to sit there in my discomfort and see it and feel it for what it was instead of avoiding it, pushing it down, pretending those feelings aren't there. This is where everything started to integrate and you become confident enough to move, not because the fear or the discomfort is not there. It will always be there, but you get to create a relationship with it. And that relationship says, I trust myself. I trust this move. It didn't wait for me to become someone new. I just stopped believing that my fear is where I needed to lean. And I started to grow from there. And when you do that over and over again, that safety, it creates this evidence that you will be more than fine when you follow your intuition. That is how you move. Imagine having that incredible trust, that deep trust with yourself. That's what this is about. This is this trust that even if I fall, I'll be able to get back up. This trust that if I need to pivot, I'm following my intuition. This trust that the abundance is going to follow this, it's going to match my energy that I'm putting out there. This trust that that no is going to create space for something more aligned. That is safety, is when you trust yourself deeply, and trusting yourself deeply comes from building a strong foundation that you are more than capable, ready, enough, just exactly as you are. So ladies, I want to reiterate in all these 10 truths that these are my truths in the last year or two. These aren't my 43 years of learning and 10 things I'm going to say no to myself and yes. And these are literally in the last 1 or 2 years. And the reason I wanted to do this is to really, really drive home that change can happen quickly. And change doesn't happen because life gets easier. And it doesn't happen when you stop negotiating with who you are, because you get to set your standard and your identity shifts, when your identity shifts, your reality will follow every single time. But you need to say, okay, let's fucking go. Like, now is always the perfect time. If you are sitting there going, I just don't feel connected to my business. If you are feeling like you're putting in all the work and not getting the results, if you're already feeling like I'm capable, I know the thing, but something's not landing, then these 10 steps will change your life. I also hate saying this generic statement, but I'm going to say it anyway. You are not broken or behind. And I want to say that because I thought for so long, when I was working so hard and things just were not falling into place, I was like, something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. Something's wrong with my messaging. Something's wrong with what I'm putting out there. I'm behind. Look at all these other people that are ahead of me that feel like they're much more abundant. They're making more money. They're so successful. Here I was putting in so much work and so much energy, right? You're not broken. It might just be asking you to become more honest, more embodied, and more self-led in whatever it is that you do. Because the work does not stop, but it does get cleaner. And that's where everything starts to expand. If you're wanting to clean out your closet, wanting to clean out the things that are not serving you, if you are wanting to start looking through fresh perspectives, get that inner foundation strong so that you can up-level your identity to meet exactly what you're wanting to create, then this is what I do. I do not do programs to fix people, but I do give you a place to learn, to grow, to self-lead your expertise, your uniqueness, because everyone has a message, and it's not about how clear you spend or say your message. It's about how embodied you are in the message that you're saying. That's what converts. That's what alignment is. That's what abundant is how are you showing up every single day? And is that aligned with what you're trying to create? And I'm not just talking how you're showing up with your friends and how you're showing up in a work day. I'm talking everything, being visible on social media, in your marketing, in your DMs, in your newsletters, in your programs, in your offers, the way you speak to clients. Everyone talks about personal branding. I want to talk about personal embodiment. That is what I've learned in the last couple of years, and this is what I teach. So please, I'm on a mission this year, and I want to work with 100 business women to grow their authority, to grow their visibility, to grow their wealth, to match the identity that they know they desire, but it just isn't landing yet. Now, if this is you, DM me on Instagram, reply to this podcast. If this podcast has hit anything with you, share it. I would love the expansion, and that is what I'm sitting here asking. I'm so embodied in every part of this work that I do, that I'm sitting here confidently saying, please share this with someone you know that will get a lot out of it. All right. I love you all. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week.